Good morning. It was a quick couple minutes. We're going to get started. My name is Glendali Rodriquez, and I am the Provost here at UW-Stout. I joined as a Stout Proud community member back in 2005 as a faculty member, and I've served in a variety of roles as an advisor to the student organization called Latinos Unidos, also the Sigma Lambda Chi Honor Society for Construction, served as a department chair, as associate provost, and am now the chief academic officer here at UW-Stout. On behalf, thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of UW-Stout, I welcome you to the Chancellor's Investiture ceremony. I will serve as today's ceremony host. It's wonderful to see so many people gathered here today, and we also have several folks attending virtually, so welcome. It's great to have you here. So today we celebrate Chancellor Katherine Frank as our 8th Chancellor. 8th Chancellor for a university with over a 130-year history. So for the mathematicians in the room, I think Provost Coker is here. We've got Nelu Ghenciu in the back. Check my math, but I think that means that Chancellor Frank will be with us for around 16 years. You'll have to let me know if I'm right. But not to keep focused on numbers, I will start with one more number, 7. 7 is the number of business days that Chancellor Frank was on campus before we performed that colossal online pivot due to the pandemic. As a university that's committed to applied, hands-on learning, our activities were disrupted in more ways than we could have ever imagined. For the first 18 months of Katherine's tenure, she would become our fearless leader at a time of unprecedented change, yet a leader that many folks only came to meet and know virtually on screen. I've heard it mentioned before that if a chancellor ever has a honeymoon period at a campus when they join, the chancellors that started on or during a pandemic never had that grace period. The number of decisions that Chancellor Frank was tasked to make quickly, decisions that impacted all of us in our day-to-day activities, were significant. She made many of those decisions without the opportunity beforehand to build relationships with us as a community. Yet by the end of today's celebration, I hope that you will agree that for such a short amount of pre-pandemic time, Chancellor Frank's deep understanding of our Polytechnic mission has grown exponentially during the pandemic. Her passion and her vision for student success, unparalleled. Her commitment to our community, a community that has stayed together and worked so hard together during what some may argue has been the most challenging time in higher education. UW-Stout is part of a community comprised of amazing people with diverse and robust contributions that have allowed us to get to where we are today. Over the next hour, you will have the opportunity to hear some stories from some members. I'll start by welcoming the president of the University of Wisconsin system, President J. Rothman. The system was formed in 1971, and UW-Stout is one of 13 universities across 26 campuses that make up the UW system. We're unique as Wisconsin's Polytechnic University, but also we are the only campus in the system that's named after our founder, James Huff Stout. President Rothman joined the UW system in June of 2022 as its 9th president. please join me in welcoming President Jay Rothman to the stage.
Thank you, Glendali, and good morning. It is an honor to be with you here today. I'd like to thank all of you for participating in this historic day for the University of Wisconsin-Stout as we formally recognize and celebrate Dr. Katherine Frank as this university's 8th chancellor. This is a new chapter in the UW-Stout story, and I'm delighted that there are so many campus colleagues, community leaders, regents, legislators, university friends, friends of Katherine, family, that are here to be part of that history. I had the good fortune of spending some time with Katherine in late July this year as she gave me my formal tour of this campus. That tour reinforced in my mind what I knew to be true, that UW-Stout is truly a special place, which makes my participation in today's event very meaningful for me. You just heard from Glendali. You know, Katherine's first day on the job was March 1st, 2020. Her timing, of course, being impeccable. 10 days later, she was driving to Madison to attend the Research in the Rotunda event at the Capitol when she got a call on her phone from the UW president's office. She pulled over to the side of the road. She'd only been in Wisconsin a matter of weeks at this point and had absolutely no idea where she was. Somewhere by a Quickie Mart, she told the staff later. Turned out that then President Raycross was setting up an emergency conference call with the UW chancellors. But I gotta stop there for just a second. I trust Katherine was actually referring to a quick trip. And not a Quickie Mart, but I'm just gonna let that go. I'm not gonna touch that. So we gotta get back to the real adventure now. The threat of a new virus, something called COVID-19, was suddenly becoming very real, and the UW needed to take action to ensure the health and safety of its campus communities. One of the things being talked about was asking students to take their materials home with them during the upcoming spring break. Just in case, right? Classes would need to be delivered online for a couple of weeks until the crisis passed. So Katherine turned the car around and headed back to Menominee for the first of what would be countless meetings of her university's emergency response team over the next years. She had not even 2 weeks of normal, before the job she had so eagerly anticipated. And the world as we all knew it got turned upside down. Looking back, it seems clear that Katherine was made for this type of moment. Particularly in the early days of the pandemic, there was a great deal of uncertainty and trust. And you've heard Glendali talk about that. From everything I've heard and what I have seen subsequently in my role, Katherine has always been a calm and steady leader, willing to make the tough decisions to make sure that the students come first and her university community remained healthy and safe. But it goes beyond that. Recognizing that students were facing unusual hardships due to the pandemic, she and her husband, Joe Dvorsky, made personal donations to help establish the much-needed Student Emergency Fund. We'll be hearing about the other ways Katherine is literally giving back to the university she cares so much about through the program this morning. Katherine is passionately proud, and rightfully so, of UW-Stout and its mission and how it serves its students and the state of Wisconsin. As Wisconsin's only designated Polytechnic university, UW-Stout blends applied learning, programs that have a career focus, and collaboration with external stakeholders to ensure that Stout graduates are ready to excel in their professions immediately upon graduation. Employers know that too. And that explains why Stout, at least in my mind, has an impressive 98.4% employment rate for its new graduates. Think about that, 98.4%. Katherine is an enthusiastic advocate for this university, and she's worked hard to ensure that UW-Stout is engaged and an active member of the Menominee community. She serves on the board of directors of both Momentum West and the Greater Menominee Development Corporation as just two examples. She has invested significant time and effort in building connections, both on campus and off campus. She has engaged intentionally with industry, governance leaders, community members, and alumni. And we'll be hearing from representatives of those groups today. I should point out that the connection people feel with UW-Stout and its prospects going forward are reflected in some really impressive gift numbers in recent years. During Katherine's tenure, there has been a 20% increase in donors, a 27% increase in gifts, and a 17% increase in corporate giving, all of which occurred during a pandemic. Katherine, quite simply, is known as someone who gets things done. It is extraordinary, actually, what she has accomplished since she came on the scene 2.5 years ago, particularly under some of the most trying circumstances one could imagine. Under her leadership, UW-Stout planned and has now implemented a Focus 2030 10-year strategic plan. The university also succeeded in the very difficult but necessary work of balancing its budget during a global pandemic. Katherine led restructuring efforts at the institutional level, including a launch of a new enrollment and strategic initiatives unit and a new equity, diversity, and inclusion unit that is committed to increasing the diversity of faculty, staff, and students at this university. UW-Stout is also making a strong push to grow its international student population. Another exciting and innovative proposal being developed on Katherine's watch is the Stout Solar Scholars Program. This program was initiated by the university's Sustainability Committee, comprised of students and staff. The Stout Solar Scholars Program will involve a fundraising campaign to allow donors to contribute toward a solar panel. Once the panels are installed and generating energy, the dollars from the energy offset will be pooled to support a scholarship fund for students. That is thinking outside of the box. I believe the UW system, which is comprised of 13 universities, has a distinct and vital mission. Our universities can and must prepare people to make a good living, but more importantly, to prepare them for life as contributing citizens. We stand by our commitment to serve our state and our local communities by graduating more students into the areas of high state needs such as science, education, math, healthcare, and engineering, to name just a few. Driven by our commitment to the Wisconsin idea, we are indeed here to serve. UW-Stout and its Polytechnic mission is such a critical part of that overall story. With Katherine at the helm, UW-Stout understands that the boundaries of this university do stretch far beyond its campus perimeters. This university proves that the Wisconsin idea is not just some abstract concept, but it is a very real force for good, and one that changes the lives of all of us for the better. Katherine, and I know you're back listening, it may have truly seemed like a trial by fire when you first arrived, and understandably so. But the promise and purpose of UW-Stout are burning brightly for all of us to see under your leadership. We look forward to working closely with you in the years to come to achieve that great promise. So allow me to add my congratulations to Katherine Frank as Chancellor of this university, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, President Rothman. And as you've noted, the promise and purpose of UW-Stout is burning brightly. For those of you that were able to see Chancellor Frank on stage when she applied for the position, you may recall that when she spoke about her interest in the position and why she wanted to join UW-Stout, she focused on telling us our own story. She had studied us through our posted stories on the web, through conversations with Stout Connections. And as she spoke, she not only articulated our strengths, she did it through storytelling, and she captured our attention energetically. Today, we're going to build on that theme of storytelling. We will hear stories from the presenters that are noted in the program. Together, they provide a glimpse of the multifaceted talent, dedication, and partnership that makes our Polytechnic University thrive. Together, they showcase the impact of an applied learning, career-focused, and collaborative university. UW-Stout embodies the renewed Wisconsin idea, the philosophy that education influences people's lives beyond the classroom. University work should be applied to solve problems and improve the health, the quality of life, and the environment for all. So in just one moment, I will ask you to help me welcome our 6 groups of presenters with a warm round of applause. They're going to share their stories one after the next. So then when they're done, we can have a roaring applause, all right? So here we go. Please join me in welcoming our speakers.
Hello, my name is Martey. It's such a special honor, and thank you for including me in this historic event. I know that I echo the entire University of Stout Foundation Board of Directors when I say that Chancellor Frank has proven that she is the right person for this job at the right time at this University of Wisconsin-Stout, and we are grateful for her leadership. She navigated a brand new position under extraordinarily unusual circumstances and uncertain circumstances. She was able to lead with grace, professionalism, and decisive humanity. She shows up, she gets involved, and is an asset to Stout. We are beyond thrilled to celebrate with you today, and we all look forward to supporting you as UW-Stout grows and flourishes. Our responsibility on the Foundation Board is to be stewards for the current generation of students but also for future students. I have been on this board because it's not solely about raising funds. It's also about creating a healthy stewardship as we focus on students, faculty, and the institution. It is so inspiring to see all the ways that Stout students demonstrate their brilliance and tenacity through the privilege of reading applications and awarding scholarships, and reading research funding applications, and the student posters and presentation. It is for good reason that everyone here is Stout proud. It is well earned. As an alumna, a Foundation Board member, and a donor, I would like to share my thoughts on how to show up in life, get involved in life, and be a philanthropist in life. I selected Stout for the food science program, and at that time, there were not too many places that offered such a specialty. What made the Stout program particularly appealing to me, and likely for most of you, was the minds-on, hands-on, career-focused approach, which allows one to take classes early on in one's major, early on. My program not only included nutrition, chemistry, and food classes, but packaging and business classes as well. This recipe was a solid foundation for my career. I arrived, sight unseen, at Stout in the late fall session with my mom, only summer clothing, in the evening, with no place to stay, from the Minneapolis airport via taxi. Talk about starting unprepared. Did I feel out of my comfort zone? Absolutely. Did I feel like a fish out of water and a bit lost? Definitely. But I realized that I had to give this place a chance and myself the chance. And the truth is, I was only giving myself and Stout a semester. Point being, I showed up and I participated. And in turn, I learned a lot. I was a TA for Philip McGurk and even a resident advisor for 2 years at Antrim Froggatt, the dorm that welcomed me when I first arrived. As an introvert, petite, Black female chef in an often male-dominated profession, I know all too well the power of showing up and participating, getting involved. Whether you're willing to take directions shelling peas, or orchestrating the kitchen line, or expediting meals to the diners, each role has importance in the dining experience. Often the rewards of being part of the experience are larger than oneself. Whether as a student, an alumnus, or a donor, there is always a need for time, talent, or treasure. Share your time by showing up. Share your talents by being positively present. Every level of commitment matters. Every contribution is precious. I used to be under the impression that one is only a philanthropist if your profession was donating immense quantities of money. I was misguided. Being on the foundation board, I came to understand that it's the habit of donating your precious gifts. Whether time, talent, treasures, or even better, all three, matters. Regularly volunteering your precious time to a nonprofit makes you a philanthropist. Donating $10 regularly or millions of dollars once makes you a philanthropist. I would encourage all of you to be everyday philanthropists by showing up with sincerity, participating with heart and enthusiasm, and donating, whether it's time, talent, or treasure, with compassion.
Art is a creative endeavor. Art is powerful. Art is joyous. Art asks us to think more expansively about the world around us. Most importantly, art can instigate positive change in communities, encourage creative space-making, bring people together, create a sense of belonging, and instill beauty in areas that were formerly drab and uninspiring. Chancellor Frank was aware of the power that a mural would have on our campus community, and I'd like to personally thank her for her continued support of the arts here at Stout. This past May, we created the first student-designed and student-painted mural in the UW system. This mural was designed by 4 students in Eric Evanson's digital illustration course, and then painted by 17 students enrolled in the new graffiti and street art course, co-taught by Wade Lambrigtsen, a community member and owner of a local sign shop, and me. Chancellor Frank believed in our talented students and knew that we didn't need to hire professional muralists when we have such creativity within the School of Art and Design. The mural brought together so many different units on campus, from the Campus Exterior Development Committee to the Department of Art and Art History, to Marketing and Communications, to the Chancellor's Office, and to a local community member and business owner. It was a collaborative endeavor that will have a long-lasting impact on the lives of those involved in its creation and installation. For our students, the mural was an opportunity for applied learning, taking what they've been taught in studio and painting courses and applying their skills in a real-world environment. After the course ended, several students went on to create murals around town this summer, including the new candy store mural and the murals currently being installed at Ted's Pizza, designed by game design student Camille Lem. By participating in our course, our students now have the experience necessary to support themselves financially in mural making. Our Stout mural is a testament to the fact that art enriches our communities, encourages collaboration, and brings meaning to our lived experiences. Chancellor Frank's encouragement and endorsement of the mural and her willingness to feature current student work permanently on the walls of the loading dock demonstrates to prospective students at Stout that we are proud of our students' creativity and their skills, and that our mission includes arts advocacy. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Wade Lambrigtsen, owner of Vintage Sign Shop, a sign and mural service here in Menominee that I started over 20 years ago after graduating from the University of Wisconsin-Stout with a fine arts degree in graphic design. When I first arrived at Stout as a veteran and non-traditional student and not really sure what I wanted to do when I grew up, Ron Burden, my advisor, was instrumental in guiding me towards my degree. Soon after graduating, I started my sign and mural shop and moved my business to Menominee, where I was given an opportunity almost immediately from the university when hired to make signs for the bookstore and the Pawn, which is located on the first floor of this building. Throughout the years, many opportunities continued for me to make signs and murals for UW-Stout, including painting basketball courts, baseball dugouts, and all the signage you see within this building during the remodel 10 years ago. You know, the university could have easily went with a large sign service company to produce their signage vision, but they didn't. They went with a small, local, independent sign shop owner who just happened to have a degree from UW-Stout. Now, less than a year ago, I was contacted by Chancellor Frank, who came out to my sign shop to visit with Cynthia Bland and Dave Beck, who understood the importance of mural art and the relationship between the university and the community, and collaborated to develop this street art and mural class that Cynthia just mentioned, to create for our college the first student-designed and painted mural in the UW system. Not only did the students create a beautiful piece of art, the class instilled in them the knowledge and the confidence to know that they too can design and paint a mural, maybe in their own community someday. Actually, it's already happening here in Menominee, like Cynthia mentioned, where I recently had 4 of these talented students help me paint the candy store mural at C&J's Candy Store downtown on 3rd Street. If you haven't seen it, I advise you to take a look at it. It's the large pink milkshake, strawberry milkshake. That was painted by a student of mine. And if you continue walking down Main Street, you'll see the signage at the Silver Dollar Saloon. That lettering was painted by a student. And the lettering on the Harry Miller motorcycle mural, also a student of mine, as well as the gin mill signage we recently finished. And now, like Cynthia mentioned, we're working on a mural in the alleyway of Ted's Pizza. That is a complete commissioned student concept and design. And I get to help her paint it. So these students are really making me look good. So you see what's happening here. This mural collaboration has generated an effect that not only will create beautiful art around our campus and community, art will bring people in, pique their curiosity, increase business, and teach our town's history. And not to mention giving these students something to be proud of and to bring their family and friends here to show what they have helped create and understand that they too can make a good living by painting murals and making a positive impact in our world. So I'm so grateful to Chancellor Frank, Cynthia Bland, Dave Beck, and a countless number of professors and staff who have given this student so many opportunities and who now can give other students the opportunity to create beautiful murals in our community and others, and to spread their legacy and the joy of art. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for that. The concept of shared governance within the University of Wisconsin system is as old and unique as the Wisconsin idea itself. The four of us stand before you today in our roles as chairs of Stout shared governance groups. Together, we proudly represent Stout's faculty, staff, and students. I'm glad to see so many of you in attendance today. We also take pride in representing shared governance itself, a centuries-old practice rooted in shared decision-making, collaboration, leadership, and inclusiveness. The role of shared governance is more important than ever as we provide institutional support and stability through our Senate's collective successes. With that, please welcome Jamie Bowe to talk more about support.
Shared governance at UW-Stout is just that, shared. While our four respective senates represent different constituencies here, often we work together and support each other in our efforts. The four chairs make it a priority to meet regularly and discuss Senate matters to make sure that we maintain open lines of communication. We believe that by working together, we can build a stronger community. We approach our work as an equal partnership, and we pride ourselves on embodying that mindset through our interactions. Regardless of which shared governance group an employee is represented by, you will always find trust and respect in shared governance. Of course, at the core of all we do are the students. We consider and are mindful of the student impact in all Senate decisions. Because we value the input and perspective students bring, we are intentional in having student representatives on several shared governance committees. Everyone's end goal is to support our students and create a place where we all belong and thrive. Shared governance is proud to be a part of the student and employee experience. Sharing this common vision and approach, we are building a stronger Stout community and ensuring future stability. Nelu Ghenciu will speak more about that now.
Thank you, Jamie, and thank you for highlighting the role we play in supporting each other, our students, and the Stout community. I know we can all talk for hours about shared governance, and I hope our passion for the workplace is evident in the way we talk about the people that make UW-Stout unique. We are so happy to finally be able to have this event and to officially introduce Chancellor Frank as a Stout Proud Blue Devil, one more addition to the group of people that make UW-Stout unique and special. I'm going to make a parenthesis here, and maybe some of you are wondering, Glendali mentioned that we keep our chancellors about 16 years on average, right? That answer is 16.13, just to make sure, right? And then the other thing is, why do you think we keep our chancellors that long? And maybe advice for the other chancellors, other campuses in the room. We wait about 3 years till we do this investiture. So we have about 2 full winters, right, that we go through. And so anyways, so I'm going to talk a bit about the stability, permanence role that shared governance plays on campus. We are reflecting on the investiture process as a process, and for us, this is the process of vesting, empowering, trusting each other, that we all come to work every day with the same common goal in mind, making UW-Stout a better place for our students. The investiture idea and the process are not new to our groups. We elect our leaders regularly, and we invest our trust in them to be our voices and to represent our constituencies. Investing and gaining trust, it's a process that takes time and is requiring a continuous commitment to it. I am happy to report that this process is taking place full force as we speak, and it has made a great impact already. I will now ask Cody Gentz to share some shared governance stories.
As this is a celebration, we would love to highlight a few of our respective Senates' recent accomplishments. The University Staff Senate is the most recently formed Senate at Stout, now in its 8th year. We all worked together in its approval to be included in the Faculty and Staff Handbook, offering additional protections for university staff employees. And advocacy from the Student Senate kicked off the creation of the first Senior Diversity Officer position here at Stout, which exists today as the Assistant Chancellor of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the major renovation to our recreation complex that officially began after a student referendum and today is in the planning stages under a committee whose membership is 50% students. Every year is an opportunity to renew and build trust with our constituents and leadership team. We look forward to shared governance's stabilizing presence as we continue our work in support of Stout's students, faculty, and staff.
We are Stout.
Good morning. You guys are great this morning. I am so very honored to be before you as you celebrate the much, much delayed formal investiture of your Chancellor and my colleague, Katherine Frank. Now seriously, why anybody in their right mind would want to take on a leadership role in the middle of a global pandemic, I have no idea. Everything the last few years, though, I know for all of us has felt a little unusual. Like a sea change has taken place. Okay, I'll say it for you. The waves have hit. It's been enormously stressful, sometimes scary, sometimes outright depressing, and all we hear about is change. But in spite of it all, you are here, and I am here, and she is here. So I wanted to say a few words about that and why I'm optimistic, and how I think that we as individual universities and as a regional collective have such strength. Now, I'm an old movie buff, love the old movies. So when I'm in the basement in the wee hours of the morning, just me and my treadmill that I affectionately call Miles, I'll sometimes turn on current classic movies. And one of the things that I just love about that channel is that they have those little shorts that they show in between the films. And it's like that Forrest Gump box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So one morning, I'm down there, and I literally had to jump off the treadmill, stopping in mid-stride, because the short that came on was talking about universities. And it was shot in, I'm guessing by the Little Skinny Ties, probably the late 50s, maybe early 60s. And I thought, oh man, what are they gonna say? Probably something very noble and something very lofty, because if they only knew what higher ed looked like today, and you and I both know what we're talking about. And I wound up laughing out loud because you could have just transported it to today. It was talking about stressors in the economy, about how universities should be preparing students for careers of all things, about how more workplace-oriented programs were necessary to fill jobs that would be out there. It was all about universities being economic engines supporting their communities and their region. I know, right? And I know that Stout, you as the Polytechnic of the state of Wisconsin, you get that whole career thing. Being the anchor of the North with our knowledge of water, we know that too. So does River Falls with their tremendous support of the agriculture and dairy industries, and Eau Claire with their support of healthcare. And this is just scratching the surface of the depth of our universities and our expertise. The bottom line is we have always known that we are critical players to our state and to our communities. I think the difference is between the 1960s and today is not that our purpose has changed or that it should change, and that's to develop well-rounded individuals with general knowledge and with a mastery of a range of transferable skills, yet at the same time being very mindful of the world that our students go out into and that our businesses and organizations operate in. It's just that we're running faster, leaner, and in a much more chaotic environment. And unlike the 1960s, we are finding new ways to address the challenges and the chaos. What makes me optimistic is the tremendous collaboration between our 4 West Region university partners: academic collaboration, economic development collaboration, and collaboration on resources and ideas. We are linking arm in arm, and working together in these 3 areas, deliberately forging a future for our students, for our communities, and for our state. And we are partnering, forming this very beautiful web of resources and supports in our region. And these are powerful partnerships among 4 very distinct universities. We've been working together to ensure that we develop strong pipelines for our students in areas that we know our state needs most. Stout and Superior have focused on education and supplying teachers. Stout, Superior, and Eau Claire participate in Northward, which is a consortium for regional educational institutions and includes our partner of Northwoods Tech. We look at articulation agreements and a whole lot more, because Northward also collaborates with our regional economic development organizations like Visions Northwest. Stout, River Falls, and Eau Claire work with CTVC with an embedded transfer advisor. And we're doing some seriously fun stuff too, like how we can collaborate on brewing science to support a robust industry, because, you know, it is Wisconsin. And if we're short on expertise and resources, we look at how to combine forces to share. Stout and River Falls collaborate on the Pathways project with an embedded advisor. And I know River Falls and ourselves, we share a Chief Information Security Officer. And I could go on. The bottom line is that we are preserving our unique identities and missions and strengths, but bringing the very best that we have to serve and support our region. And these partnerships benefit everyone, our universities, our employees, our students, and our businesses. And I think together we can broaden our impact and outreach and increase the number of students that have access to us. Students and businesses benefit from the expertise and offerings that each of us brings to the table, maintaining our unique missions, yet leveraging our assets to meet new needs in new ways. And our employees can expand their development opportunities by being exposed to new perspectives of their colleagues. So do you see why I have confidence in our universities together? Will it continue to be a chaotic landscape? You betcha. But there is no escaping it. But I think in partnership, we can continue to serve with strength. And I think I should probably end with something from a movie, and I thought, well, you know, maybe Bette Davis from, if you've ever seen All About Eve, and she says, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. But I'm picking something a little more contemporary, and because I'm a complete geek. And Sam says to Frodo, there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. And I would add, together. So congratulations to you, to your spirit, to the commitment of our regional colleagues to this area of the state, especially to Chancellor Frank at this investiture, and a particular thank you to her for her leadership and her partnership.
On behalf of undergraduate students and graduate, certificate, and doctoral students, we are both so humbled and honored to represent the incredible student body here at UW-Stout. It is an honor to participate in this investiture event in support of Dr. Katherine Frank.
Or as we all know her, Chancellor Frank. I am so incredibly overjoyed to be sharing this moment with our Chancellor and all of you, but additionally to be sharing it with you, Nilu. I knew from the moment I met Nilu that we had 2 things in common. We are both incredibly strong and incredibly driven women. Coincidentally, our journeys here at UW-Stout would go on to run parallel. As I earned my graduate degree, Nilu earned her undergraduate degrees. I chose to pursue a graduate degree here at UW-Stout for a multitude of reasons. I wanted to discover a new career pathway for myself. I was ready for a change, and I wanted immediate results. As an adult learner, working full-time while earning my degree, hands-on learning that could be applied back to my current day job was essential. I wanted to apply what I was learning immediately, and I was successful in doing so. Before completing my degree, I was able to take the next step and advance in my career. The Stout community ensured my success as instructors and peers like Nilu supported and collaborated toward my achievements.
We didn't come to UW-Stout just for education. We were inspired by peers, instructors, and members of the Stout community to make it better and lead while pursuing our dreams. I often say this, for me, studying at UW-Stout wasn't just the next step in my journey. It was an opportunity that divided my life into two parts, before and after, allowing me to live my American dream. This university, this administration, and this community empowered and supported me, ensuring the dream of being college educated became a reality for an 18-year-old girl from a small village in Tajikistan.
Along with sharing our academic journeys here at Stout, Nilu and I share our graduation date, May 7th, 2022.
We were both chosen as graduate speakers, me for undergraduate and Emily as graduate. But our journeys didn't end at graduation.
This fall, I became a lecturer in the English department, where I help Stout students achieve and apply the same knowledge I've learned at Stout. I've also continued my own pursuits as a student in the Instructional Design Certificate program. Once I've earned this certificate, I will be what Stout refers to as a triple threat graduate, having earned both a degree and a professional certificate through applied learning experience.
After completing 2 majors and a minor in 4 years and graduating in May, I was able to start working as a full-time professional immediately. Emily's journey inspired me that it is possible to work full-time, have a family, and pursue a graduate degree all at the same time. And I know that if I could do something like that anywhere, it would be here, within the supportive community at UW-Stout.
Yet Stout isn't just a university, it is home. A home where we support one another, where our connections, passions, goals, and desire to grow comprise the greater Stout community.
Your stories matter, our stories matter, and together we can take on any challenges that come our way. We know Chancellor Frank will continue to be steward of student experience, and her commitment to Stout success will continue to pave the way forward, taking us to the new heights. Just as the Chancellor did when faced with the global pandemic shortly after beginning here at Stout.
As an online student, the feeling of community to Stout never stopped, even when it felt like the whole world halted to COVID-19. We stayed unified, supportive of each other, ensuring that our home here at Stout continued. This is a testament to our Chancellor.
Chancellor Frank, we wish you the best, and we are here as your team and your colleagues to support you moving forward. You can always count on us as a unified force toward the betterment of UW-Stout.
We anticipate the growth and development Chancellor Frank will lead as we move UW-Stout forward toward our university's future goals. As students, we appreciate the forward-looking direction Stout has taken.
Many renovations to buildings and upcoming projects will continue to enhance and grow our university into the future. Our Chancellor's leadership and strong vision for UW-Stout has made so many of these things possible, and her efforts will continue to shape the landscape of the Stout we know.
Chancellor Frank, we, the Stout students, will be here for you every step of the way as you continue to lead by example.
You continue to make us all Stout proud.
Good morning. I think I'm under the wire, getting close. Hello, my name is Pat Meuers, and I am a UW-Stout alumni and the Vice President of Digital Solutions for FindLaw, a Thomson Reuters business. As a student, I chose Stout for the hands-on curriculum which best fit my style. I majored in industrial technology and focused in graphic arts management. During my time at Stout, I was able to work through the full process, right? The full printing process, design, pre-press, and I actually ran a press. And that really prepared me for my future work. Working in a very, very male-dominant industry, my first role out of college was the assistant production manager for Dow Jones, and we printed and distributed the Wall Street Journal. So I spent many years managing various print production facilities, and about 15 years ago, I moved online. I now lead a global team that builds marketing programs for attorneys. In 2014, we had a need in FindLaw for digital marketers. This is where we began our partnership with Stout. During this time, our business, as well as digital marketing overall, was growing and changing, and the demand for talent was high. The demand for talent is even higher now. We approached UW-Stout with the idea of developing a degree program that met the needs of employers. The partnership made sense. We needed employees with hands-on experience, and Stout's academic approach fit that need. We offered talent from FindLaw for curriculum development and delivery. We started in 2015, first with a class, followed by a minor in digital marketing technology, and now it's a full major. Our employees went on campus to instruct and were able to interact directly with the students. The classes were also offered virtually, which expanded the reach, right, to folks outside of the community. The year-end assignment was to help small businesses with their website. We participated in the report outs and shared feedback with the students. This was a great project because it really connected the students with business in the community. Since the program development, we have hired both interns and full-time employees. We've hired 13 interns over the past few years, and we've hired 3 of them full-time. But what we like about the program and the students that complete this program is that they get to try the tactics early on in their education journey. They gain that experience through hands-on learning and can use that learning as they have co-ops and internships. They leave the program with a good understanding of what the career and job will look like post-graduation. It's the applied learning environment that Stout provides, the strong industry partnership, and the collective participation that provides a unique experience for students, employees, and industry partners to learn and grow. Thank you.
All right, we just heard from all the presenters, so let's do that roaring round of applause now. Wow. We heard from alumna and foundation board member Lauren Martey. She emphasized time, talent, and treasure. Professor Cynthia Bland and instructor/business owner Wade Lambrigtsen described the positive impact of a university and community coming together to create art. Art that brings people together through a partnership that enhances the pride in a shared living and learning environment. Shared governance leaders, Jamie Bowe, Cody Gentz, Nelu Ghenciu, and Josh Risler, spoke about support, stability, and success. Of faculty, staff, and students, the importance of creating those spaces and processes that allow all voices to be heard. Chancellor Renee Wachter, she stressed academic collaboration, economic development collaboration, and collaboration on resources and ideas across the region. Recent UW-Stout graduates, Nilu, Umarova, and Emily Laird, spoke about the value of multiple degrees, including success as a triple threat graduate, achieving a degree, experiential learning, and a professional certification. And alumni and industry partner, Pat Meuers, reminded us of the importance of student, employee, and business partnerships. Thank you to all of our presenters for the gift of those stories today. So next, it is my honor to introduce Chancellor Katherine Frank. Today, we have the opportunity to learn a bit more about her as a person, her path to the chancellorship, and most importantly, celebrate her leadership. So please join me in welcoming Chancellor Katherine Frank.
Well, hello. It's so nice to see all of you here today. So I woke up and said, snow. Fantastic. It took me back 4 years, almost to the date today, when I was touring campus, and it snowed a foot. And everywhere I went on campus, everywhere, it is really early for snow. It's really early. So, guess what? It's really early for snow. So welcome, everybody. I'm making everybody in the box a little nervous because I'm off script, so I'm getting back on script. So thank you all for being here. Hello, welcome. I am just so delighted to see all of you, and I know that many of you traveled great distances to be here, and it means the world to me. So welcome to Stout. So, an investiture almost 3 years following a chancellor started an institution as a change from what one might expect. And the last few years have certainly been punctuated by change. Some might argue that at first glance, I represent a bit of change for Stout, considering our institutional history, my identity, and my areas of expertise. In fact, this change is evident in a question that I have heard quite often during my tenure at Stout, and it goes something like this. Why would someone with a PhD in English want to lead a Polytechnic university? And so it's a fair question. We ask our applicants to explain why they are interested in Stout in order to gauge their understanding of our distinct institutional mission and our educational philosophy. And it's also a version of a question that I have been asked since declaring my intent to become an English major in college. And the conversation goes something like this. What are you going to do with an English major? And I would reply quite confidently, anything I want to do. So today I thought I would take this opportunity to share a small part of my own story, as well as how it fits into the larger narrative tapestry that makes up the Stout story. So why English, and how does this academic background support leadership of Wisconsin's Polytechnic University and our commitment to the 3 educational tenets of applied learning, career, and collaboration? For me, the answer is pretty simple for the why English question. I love my relationship with language and literature and the critical thinking, reading, writing, and speaking that comes with it. I love the complexity of both poetry and prose and the constant questioning that accompanies engagements with texts of all sorts. I love the act of discovery and the feelings of discomfort when I encounter something I don't fully understand or agree with. I love never feeling satisfied with my own writing and forcing myself to accept the very thing I would often tell my students. A paper's never done, it's only due. So I love the messiness of it all, and I love what emerges from the messiness. I also love the process of learning, and it was the incredible teachers in my life who helped me to fall in love with literature and language. It was Mrs. Swinford, Mrs. Adams, Mr. Hank, a math teacher, by the way, and Mrs. Wheeler in grade school and middle school who made language and problem solving come alive, and with it my imagination, my creative thinking, my innovation, my collaboration, and confidence. In college, it was both Professor Steve Dillon, my thesis advisor and co-author on my first 2 publications, and yes, even English majors engage in undergraduate research, and the late Professor Carol Taylor, who shaped the trajectory for graduate study. And it was Carol Taylor who truly taught me how to write, to speak, and to prepare to lead. I remember sitting in her office, going over a paper that I was struggling to pare down, and her looking at me and telling me that my writing style revealed much about my subject position. You qualify everything, she said. You write around and around and around your main point until you feel like you have justified it enough to finally state it. Just get to the point. Be more direct. So for all of you out there thinking she's got that part down, right, to the direct, yeah, you can thank Carol Taylor for that. Finally, I also deeply value what I learned as an English teacher myself. Students teach you a lot. They challenge you, and connecting with them and witnessing their success make you a better teacher. I failed completely when I started teaching composition as a teaching assistant in graduate school. And we may be told to teach from where your students are, but it takes experience to understand what that means, to really connect with students from all different majors and different backgrounds in a required composition classroom. And so one of my major aha teaching moments came when I attended a professional development session on problem-based learning led by a chemist. And then I asked myself, if problem-based learning can work in a STEM, a science, technology, or engineering mathematics classroom, what's preventing it from working in a composition or a literature classroom? And recall that which I love about being an English major, the messiness of it all. So I flipped the classroom. That was a fairly radical move for 1990s pedagogy. And I literally turned the classroom on its head, pulled the students front and center, and I existed as a teacher along the margins of their learning. I built curriculum around real-life problems, and I had students work, write, and produce together throughout all stages of the writing process. I prepared them for success following graduation, regardless of their major or career pathway, through a focus on applied learning and collaboration. Sound familiar? Applied learning, collaboration, and career. These are just 3 of the reasons why an English major would want to come to UW-Stout, and how an English major might contribute to its future. We share educational values, and we share pedagogical preferences. Foundationally, we are very much aligned. However, I bring a different perspective, a different lens through which we can examine these shared educational values and pedagogical preferences and work together towards continuous improvement. So what can you do with an English major, right? You can help lead and learn from a Polytechnic university, and we balance each other out quite nicely, I would say, both literally and figuratively, as we fill in gaps and create an effective educational experience for our students. And our distinct Stout educational experience was just described by our 6 groups of speakers. And these speakers were selected because they helped to tell the Stout story from a variety of perspectives, describe where we are today, and point to where we're headed. Across their remarks, you might have noticed what I refer to as the 3 + 4 + 5 of Stout. 3 educational tenets: applied learning, career focus, and collaboration. Our 4 enduring values, which we have aligned with James Huff Stout's founding principles, and they are inscribed in the bells on Bowman's Clock Tower, and they're reflected in our university seal. They are honor, industry, learning, and skill. And if you forget the four, just think of hills, and we're always climbing up that hill trying to achieve our values. And the 5 pillars of our 10-year strategic plan, Focus 2030, that was built and implemented during the pandemic, those are student success, employee success, equity, diversity, and inclusivity, institutional sustainability, and identity. And I also hope that you heard in their remarks that to do at Stout is in our DNA from our earliest beginnings. And it resonates loudly today throughout our campus and our programs and through the success of our graduates. And today these speakers celebrated what we do really, really well at Stout. And what I value about these types of relationships is that our friends, our stakeholders, and our partners also let us know when we can improve. And something that I appreciate deeply about the culture at Stout is that we are committed to quality and continuous improvement. This too is in our DNA and was celebrated most publicly more than 20 years ago when we were awarded the Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award. And today we still remain the only 4-year institution to have ever received this honor. And if you know the story, the late, great, legendary Chancellor Charles Sorensen turned a problem into a solution through his investment in the Baldrige framework. And today we continue to focus on improvement through such priorities as a strategic approach to enrollment management and an institutional commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusivity. These areas of focus are tied directly to our new strategic plan and to date have involved an institutional restructuring, hiring of executive-level leadership, and dedication of the resources necessary for the university to invest in the work that is essential to support change and progress. Our success not only depends on the commitment and hard work of our university community, but also on the commitment of our surrounding community and our many partners who are essential to the complete Stout learning experience. And when I began speaking today, I focused on change. And Investiture 3 years after the fact, the change that has marked the last few years in my own educational background, change that adds to the narrative tapestry that is the Stout story. There is also one other distinct change I've brought to Stout, and that is I'm the first woman to lead this institution in more than 130 years. So, if I had given this speech 3 years ago, I would have said, and in fact, I said this many times in interviews, that that part of my identity doesn't matter, that I just want to be the best leader I can be for this institution and our community, and that's still true. I want to be the best leader I can be. However, what the past 3 years have taught me is that it certainly does matter that I'm the first woman to lead this institution. And I've been reminded of this directly and indirectly many times, and once very directly, when a female faculty member told me that I should acknowledge this part of my identity as a leader because, quote, many women, including her, worked very hard to make it possible. It is not lost on me that this year we celebrate 50 years since the enactment of Title IX, and I stand before you as the first female chancellor of UW-Stout, about to recognize the role that women have played in the past, present, and future of Stout. Today, we celebrate 3 very recent gifts to the university that were finalized in the last month and total more than $3 million. All of these gifts were made by women or in honor of a female Stout graduate. And as you listen to the Stout stories behind these 3 gifts, please listen for the tenets, the values, the pillars, the 3 + 4 + 5 that have been foregrounded today, as well as to the female voices centered in these narratives. Viola Reeby, in honor of her late husband, Herb Reeby, a 1957 industrial education graduate, has committed $2.53 million to endow the UW-Stout Fab Lab, which will be renamed the Herbert and Viola Reeby Fab Lab, and to establish the Herbert and Viola Reeby Endowed Scholarship Fund for full-time students majoring in engineering technology, manufacturing engineering, or mechanical engineering. So I got to know Viola Reeby through phone calls during the first 2 years of the pandemic, and then I met with her in person last spring. And Viola is very well known at UW-Stout, as she was a longtime supporter of our former Steps for Girls program and continues to be a dedicated supporter of our Fostering Success program to support incoming Stout students who have aged out of the foster care system, the first program of its kind in the UW system. Herb was the catalyst that brought Viola to Stout. Viola emphasizes that it was Herb's experiences at Stout that greatly impacted their lives, and that it was her first gift of some of Herb's equipment to the university, a lathe and a drilling machine, that initiated the relationship that would lead to this transformational gift almost 20 years later. One of the first things Viola did when we met was to pull out a photograph of Herb working on a machine in the research lab at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab in Berkeley, California. And Herb started working for the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab 2 years after graduating from Stout. He felt at home among the machines and in an environment of doing, of making, and problem solving, for which he had been well prepared while at Stout. And it was the start of an incredible more than 30-year career of designing apparatuses and supporting the work of numerous physicists. Colleagues describe Herb as a curious problem solver who never gave up and loved designing and testing ideas. And one of the things that he appreciated about Stout was being able to go into the labs and create, experiment, and innovate. And after having further conversations with Viola, I thought of our Fab Lab, which is designed after a similar space at MIT and was, again, the first of its kind in the UW system. Viola liked the idea. In fact, she loved the idea, and we discussed the purpose of the space, that it is open and available for all students, and that it supports partners of the university, including the professional development of career and technical education teachers across the state. The Fab Lab has even more potential for engagement and expansion, and Viola found this extremely exciting. This transformational gift endowing the Fab Lab and the Scholarship for Aspiring Engineers will expand access, assistance, and programming, and will support countless curious makers like Herbert Reeby well into the future. And Viola is watching today, so please join me in thanking her again for her generous gift. Robert, or Bob Bowe, in honor of his late wife, Joanne Bowe, a 1960 Stout graduate in home economics, has committed $500,000 to endow the UW-Stout Ambassador Program, a leadership opportunity for students who are dedicated to serving and representing UW-Stout. And I had the pleasure of meeting Bob recently at his beautiful home in Green Bay, and I learned about his deep commitment to teaching and learning, which he was able to foster at his beloved UW Green Bay, and his deep love for Joanne. Everything he pointed to in their beautiful home, from the couch in the living room that they bought together to their love of antiquing, helped to tell the story of their exquisite partnership. Bob explained that Joanne had strong leadership skills when she came to Stout. The summer before her senior year of high school, she attended the state's Home Economists Convention and was nominated to serve as the president of that group of 1,000 students. And Bob indicates that this is what really launched Joanne's future as a leader, and that her leadership skills continued to be developed during her time at Stout as a home economics major. Her friend and classmate, Pat Reisinger, who is here today, described Joanne at her memorial service as, quote, a smart, altogether awesome female. Joanne was a campus leader, heavily involved in Alpha Phi, She participated as part of the State Home Economics Club, was a member of Phi Epsilon Omicron Honor Society, served as a residence hall counselor, was a charter member of the Stout Student Educational Association, and was crowned the 1959 Homecoming Queen. More often than not, the history of our institution is masculinized, while in fact, our foundational programs include early childhood education, domestic science or home economics, and manual training. Women's education is part of the foundation of this institution, and women leaders like Joanne Bowe have helped to build our present and our future. Bob Bowe is here today, and I would like to ask you all to join me in thanking him for establishing this gift that will support future leaders like Joanne. Thank you, Bob. And finally, Becky Cranston, a 1964 Stout graduate in dietetics, is a longtime donor to UW-Stout. Her total giving exceeds $250,000, and most recently, as soon as Becky heard that the Heritage Hall renovation project had been prioritized by the UW System Board of Regents as the top-ranked project in the Chippewa Valley and the third highest-ranked academic building project in the UW system, she quickly responded with a $100,000 pledge to support Heritage Hall programming. And Becky is a proud graduate of Stout. She grew up in North Menominee and comes from a family where 9 of her relatives also attended Stout. When I first spoke with Becky early in my tenure at Stout, she told me these wonderful stories about ice skating to the university across Lake Menomin and changing in the women's locker room in the basement of Harvey Hall so that she was ready for class. It was faster than other means of commuting, apparently. And she also spoke with me, and of course this grabbed my heart. She told me about her favorite professors, including English professor Tom Fleming, who strengthened her writing and prepared her to become a grant writer at Kent State University. She has paid it forward and been a strong supporter of faculty through her gift giving to Stout, and her most recent gift recognizes the essential role of infrastructure in supporting the successes of faculty and students at Wisconsin's Polytechnic University. Becky is also watching today. Thank you, Becky, for loving Stout the way you do and for your enduring generosity. So I've learned much during the past 3 years at Stout. I've been reminded that you can do anything you want to do with an English major, and that being the first female leader of this institution does matter for many reasons, and especially in honor of those women whose stories have helped to shape Stout, as well as for the future of this institution, our ongoing commitment to inclusivity, and for all of the graduates who will continue to add to the larger Stout story. And as you have heard, throughout this program, for me and others, storytelling is reciprocal. We all play an essential role in the Stout story, and Stout plays an important role in our stories. And together, the way we tell this story matters. And the ability to tell a story is a very important life skill. So you may have noticed the short animations between speakers today. And like our unique Stout stories and those we heard today, these individual segments, when viewed together, represent a larger story, a comprehensive identity, and one that reflects our commitment to continuous improvement. So today, I'm proud to unveil the first full reveal of a new university mark to represent our story, to remind us of our commitments and to carry us forward. And like this celebration, the new mark traces the path of innovation through our past and present and illuminates our future. It honors our 3 educational tenets: applied learning, career focus, and collaboration. It reflects the relationships of our students with our faculty and staff, as well as with our community and external partners, and the modalities in which our students learn on campus, online, and through hybrid study. It reinforces our aspiration to provide students with a degree grounded in applied learning and research, the professional experience to apply it wisely, and the tools to continue to engage collaboratively as lifelong learners. To do is in our DNA at Stout, and we believe in what we do and the importance of always striving to do better. We believe in our mission as Wisconsin's Polytechnic University. We believe in the distinctiveness and value of our story, and we are all, if you can't tell, extremely Stout proud. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just going to put that moment in my pocket, and when things get really bad around here, I'm just going to pull it out and remember that. So thank you. If you could just bear with me for a couple more minutes, I want to extend some thank yous. And I've got Glendali on reserve back there, you know, other duties as assigned if I can't get through these. These are very broad expressions of gratitude. There's many people here today, and it would take a lot of time to thank everybody. But I do want to stay on script as I do this and just recognize some folks. So first, I'd like to recognize and thank the UW system representatives, including President Jay Rothman and the regents who are here today. These individuals are exceptional humans, and they truly represent what it means to be partners in ensuring a quality educational experience for our students. And as President Rothman indicated, I had an unusual introduction to UW-Stout and the UW system, and it involved a little bit of shifting in uncertain circumstances, but how there was a group of people on whom I could and can always depend, and those are my fellow chancellors. There are several representatives here today, and of course you heard from the amazing Renee Wachter, and these are people who always reply. They always pick up the phone, and they always have valuable advice. They are tremendous professionals and advocates for their universities. And I would also like to express sincere appreciation to Dunn County and the city of Menominee. Again, representatives welcomed me warmly, mostly from behind a screen, as I started my tenure as chancellor, and they have continued to be exceptional partners. As Mayor Knack says, Menominee would not be Menominee without Stout, and Stout would not be Stout without Menominee, and he's correct. Ours is a synergistic relationship that depends on mutual respect and open communication. And you heard from several representatives from the immediate and extended Stout community, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and external partners. You all make Stout the incredible place it is. You all make the magic happen. Thank you for your hard work and dedication in support of our special university. Thank you for your belief and love in Stout. And for me today, it's very humbling, it's amazing, it's a bit overwhelming. There are people here from each of my past institutions since becoming an assistant professor at CSU Pueblo. These are all individuals who have been there in good times and not so good times. They have centered me in the classroom, in the conference rooms, on the Pilates mat, you name it, they've done it. And you all know who you are, and it means the world to me that you are here today. And it has been rare in my professional journey that I'm able to recognize my family. My parents, Chris and Randy Frank, are here today. I was very lucky growing up because my parents instilled in me the value of education and the responsibility that comes with it. And so from that very first public library card to college, education was non-negotiable, and along with it, the responsibility to apply it wisely. And finally, to my husband, Joe Dvorsky. Joe likes to fly under the radar, and I'm afraid that has ended. And there's a lot I could say about Joe's support over the last 2 decades. He would say it only feels like about 5 decades, but you know. But to suffice it to say that the moves we have made throughout the country have been in support of my career and not his. He's an incredible human, and I'm certainly the lucky one in the relationship. So please join me in thanking all of you for being so amazing. And speaking of amazing, see that transition is my superpower as an English major. It is now my pleasure to bring Glendali Rodriquez back to the podium to bring the program to a close. Thank you all so much for being here.
Whew. I'm glad I was not called on for extra duties as assigned. So Chancellor Frank, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us your process of learning, your story about the incredible teachers and supporters in your life, and reminding us as educators how students teach us and they challenge us to think better and to be better. I most appreciate your reference to the messiness that we navigate each day. I can't think of a better way to summarize that. Thank you for your passion to be the best leader that you can be for our university and for working with us as we create the exciting future that lies ahead. So we've now reached the conclusion of today's investiture ceremony. I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone that played a role in coordinating and helping today's event be a success. So let's give them a round of applause, including the folks coordinating the audio, visuals, and technology up in the box back there. So let's give everybody a round of applause. So you might have noticed it's only midday, so the party continues. We are going to host 2 receptions, one directly across the hall in the ballrooms, and a second in a beautiful outdoor tent with heaters and with music accompaniment by the Stout Jazz Embers. Am I selling it? Okay. It's on the south lawn of the Memorial Student Center, this building. And for those of you that want to experience a bit more of our campus, we will have campus tours at 1 o'clock. Please gather downstairs in this building in the front of the Stout Fitters bookstore. So it's right by the front doors of the Memorial Student Center. 1 o'clock if you'd like to go on a tour. Also, if you want to set something on your timer, if you have one of these old things called a watch or on your phone, please keep attentive to a celebratory peal. So that's the ringing of a melody from our historic Bowman Clock Tower that will occur today at 1:08 p.m. in honor of Stout's 8th Chancellor, Katherine Frank. So thank you to everyone. Let's keep enjoying the celebration, and it was an honor to be your host today. Thank you.